So in chapter 11 for management, we looked at um, managing innovation and change. So basically, to explain what those two are, innovation is basically the creation of a new idea, a new solution to a problem that may have been occurring within the organization, or a complete kind of behavioral change within that organization, such as how things are run, the process that things are done by. Um, it's basically you're innovating some type of uh, aspect of the business, whether that be through a product or within the system of your business. And it's just creating something new, going a new way about it type thing. There are multiple reasons for it to change. There are outside forces, um, such as like maybe the industry or market that you're in is changing rapidly, um, and you need to adopt a new behavior from within. Or sometimes a new manager will come by and they have a totally different set of approach. But there are two different types of innovation, and there's disruptive innovation uh, and reverse innovation. So disruptive innovation is basically taking something and eventually going to completely replace that an existing product or service that was originally offered. Um, so you're going to innovate that and eventually replace it. Reverse innovation is sort of creating uh, innovative low-cost products for um, emerging markets, and then quickly getting repackaging them inexpensively and stuff like that, and getting them to developed countries for sale. It's very important for uh, a company to have creativity and innovation um, for many reasons. One is it can obviously lead to the more success in the future, because you could innovate a product and make it better, or make it make it fill the needs of people more, your customers. So that can drive up sales. You could make the process a little quicker, or more efficient, or whatnot, cheaper, or technology changes. Um, Innovation in technology, you're going to adopt a new system in place, and it'll just help everything make it more smooth. So there are many different aspects that it can help. So it's definitely a big thing to want to be innovative. Creativity is a little bit different than innovation. It's basically the generation of new ideas that might meet perceived needs, and sort of respond to the different opportunities that arise within a business. So that's like the thought process behind it all. Innovation is actually the change that's happening, but creativity is coming up with new ways, new approaches, new ideas that could potentially help the business in the future. Um, so this is important too, because, like I said before, it can lead to multiple different opportunities that a company can jump on. And it doesn't have to be from all the time from the top management. Sometimes you can have the bottom up approach where um, you encourage people at the lower levels to be like give them the opportunity to be creative with their work, and it can help in the long run. Um, so for part two, explain the concept of organizational development. So organizational development is basically a planned, systematic process of change. Um, this is um, basically this is used when you want to kind of create like a more positive corporate culture, or improve the different departments within your business, and some of them can relate one to another, but it's all about that sort of change within, um, something that's been planned, um, something that's going to, in a sense, elevate the business and take it to the next level. Um, there are like different like approaches to kind of doing this and like the different focuses. Um, you're going to encourage a sense of community. Um, this is going to help everybody be more productive, um, and make people want to work with each other and be helpful to each other, and it's just going to push the business forward. Um, you're going to bring open a sense of trust too. That's something that you're going to focus on with organizational development. So that's very big when it comes to management, and being able to have the trust of your workers. Provide an opportunity for personal growth and development. This is big too, because everybody wants to get better. Everyone wants to make it to the next level. Everyone wants to strive to be the best that they can. And organizational development, depending on how you go with it, it can give people that opportunity, to try and be better for themselves. And the other thing too is it sort of helps manage conflict, which can conflict obviously can hinder the success of a business. And if you're have a planned sort of organizational development, this can help sort of manage that in a sense and kind of minimize that as well. So that's definitely a few of the big reasons why organizational development is very important for the long-term success of a company. It all comes down to basically how it's run, and how things are run is going to be, a good example of how successful the company is going to be. So why is there an emphasis on addressing change in an organization? So there is a big emphasis on addressing change in an organization, because because change is something that is inevitable. It's going to happen, and most people don't like change. I know I don't like change. I really, really hate it. Some change is good, some change is bad. But no matter what, it's going to happen. And so change within an organization is sort of when you're adopting a new idea, and this can sometimes scare your employees, sort of for multiple reasons. A lot of the times, sometimes, their self-interest is, is like their priority. Sometimes they fear that they're going to lose more for themselves when this change is going to happen. For whatever reason, they feel that it all depends on the situation that you're in. But personal loss is something because they're looking out for themselves. Another thing too could be lack of understanding. So if you're being told something, something's going to change, and you're not given not necessarily given like an explanation, but sometimes people don't want to understand change, and they just sort of kind of their instinct kind of fight against it, and it can sometimes break trust too, which is a big thing within an organization. You want to be able to have your employees trust your managers as much as possible. There's also a lot of uncertainty when it comes to change, like what's going to happen. Like at least with the process that you're in right now, the steps, what's going to happen, you know what tomorrow is going to look like. But with change, there's a lot of uncertainty. How is my day-to-day going to look and stuff like that. So those are the main reasons why addressing change is so important within an organization. It's all the main purpose of addressing change is to eliminate those fears, those worries, the sort of minimize that self-interest a little bit, because it's about a team. You're in a company, it's about the team. So, of course, everyone's going to look out for themselves, but it's about the team. So those are some of the ramifications of what happens when you don't address those organizational changes. There are some things that companies can do to kind of help employees deal with change. The first thing is sort of explain to them what's happening, give them a good solid explanation of what's happening. That's a big thing, because you don't want them to have uncertainty or not be able to understand why this change is occurring. So that's something that's very big. There are, different ways to implement change. Participation, get everybody involved in the new set of changes, take it step by step, that sort of thing. So doing that will help your employees be able to understand the change and not react in a negative way to change or as much. So yeah, that's everything for chapter 11.